my name's Caitlin. I'm from grassfedgirl.com, and today we have a big treat. We have Adrienne Gledhill. She is a Biggest Loser contestant and now turned carnivore. She's also dealt with mold and SIRS, and she's a mom of two, and she's here with us. Welcome, Adrienne. So nice to have you.
Thanks for having me.
So I want to hear your whole story about, how did you get on The Biggest Loser? And then, why was that maybe not the best way to stay healthy and lose weight? And then what made you get into carnivore?
So I've been overweight my entire life. And I was just talking to Todd from Carnivore here, and he was saying that maybe it depends on what moms are eating, that kids can actually be born, with insulin issues. And I would say that's probably me. I mean, I don't remember a day ever not being the big kid. I've always been the big kid. I was the biggest kid in school. I was the biggest kid at home. I was the biggest kid all around. So I got bullied quite a bit. In between the bullying and just being big and being put on a restrictive diet, like from the age of 0, I just got this persona that that's what I am. I'm the big kid. I'm less than. There's something wrong with me. I'm doing something wrong. Um, and so I go into high school, I go into turbo mode because some people, that kind of stuff really brings you down. For me, it was like, I'm going to defeat this. And so I was in soccer, cross country skiing, golf. I did some track, some basketball. I played all the sports hardcore. And I was a pretty decent athlete. And I was able to maintain like in the 160s. But the minute I went to college, I just 60 pounds, just just blew up in college. And I don't think I was particularly eating things different than my friends. It's just my metabolism has always suffered. And so one day I saw the TV show The Biggest Loser, and my stepmom was like, "We should go on that." And I'd never seen the show, but like a few weeks later or something, I had a dream that I was going to be on it. And I don't know if you've ever had those vivid dreams, like very, very vivid, where you're like, wow, that's actually gonna happen. So I applied and I got picked. And the first day that we were there, I was so excited. I noticed there was 50 of us, one from every state. And then I got the heartbreaking news that 36 of us were going home and only 14 were staying. But whoever lost the most weight at home was going to come back on. And so they gave us a doctor, a nutritionist, a psychologist, an entire workout plan, an entire nutrition plan, tons of support calls, a camera to take diary. We're working through things. I'm also doing lots of journaling, and I had a lot of support as an at-home contestant. And just so you guys know, here's what the plan was, because it's going to sound, I think, very familiar. It was 1,274 calories broken into 3 meals plus 2 snacks and perfectly balanced low fat protein and as many vegetables as you can fit in that caloric thing. So, doesn't that sound familiar? Like, isn't that what everybody's doing at home that the doctors are telling them to do? But here was the added piece. He said 2 workouts, one in the morning, and try to get 12 hours in between, one in the afternoon, and lots of cardio and some lifting 6 days a week, even if you're sick. And then he said, try to walk in between.
Even
So,
if you're sick.
what?
Even if you're sick.
Even if you're sick, he said, and I slightly believe with a little bit of this that when you're sick, it gets your blood flowing and you get that fresh air instead of sitting in the stagnant air and just letting it fester. A little bit of movement gets the blood flowing and can help you. So I'm actually a little bit with him on that one. A little bit. Like you shouldn't be half marathon training, but you could go for a walk in the fresh air.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm looking at the previous seasons and that's what I'm comparing myself to. And I'm like, man, I'm just you can watch the diaries. It's on, you can see most of the series on YouTube if you search Biggest Loser season 3. I don't think I'm keeping up at all. And then one day I get a call that says, "Hey, you made the top 3. We're going to take you back to California." And I get there and I found out I beat everybody at home and everybody on the ranch. My
Wow.
mind was blown because I didn't keep up with the previous seasons at all. And now in retrospect, for a long time I thought I was really cool. Now I was 22. I had a significant metabolic advantage over the rest of the cast. I was, now that I'm 40, dealing with perimenopause, I see it a little differently, but at the time I thought I was amazing. And I worked really hard, But so I get back on the ranch and immediately all those tools that I had get taken away. Now all we have is the trainers. And if you do some searches, like Jillian Michaels has recently come out and admitted that she did not know what she was doing. Prior to the show, she was a celebrity trainer helping people slim down 10 pounds. She had never been a trainer for the obese. She didn't
Um,
have a medical background. And I mean, based on my experience, I would say that's all the trainers. They were beautiful people who'd helped celebrities lose weight prior to there. So they had experience helping people, but not to this level. And by the time I got there, the trainers weren't there so often, and the cameras were only there a couple times a week. The rest of it, there was like little cameras in the corner everywhere, like security cameras, and so you were monitored all day long, but the trainers themselves were not there. And there was no doctor, no nutritionist, no psychologist. There was a doctor, but he wasn't really allowed to like correspond with us a lot. He had to stay in his office, and I don't know, legally, whatever. Um, there was just a guy taping up injury. That's it. And so these people were on their own, and they had been, by the time I got there, they'd been sequestered from their family for months and their friends. And they're alone, and they're told you have to lose weight or, we're filming you. So they would just walk, run all day long. Everybody was injured except for me and Jaren, who came back. Everybody had bursitis. People were not feeling good. People were low energy. I mean, it was no wonder when we came back, it was like middle school. They were like, "Psh, psh, psh, psh," and they hated us. And it was awful. And it was really, really middle schooly. But in their defense, they'd been sequestered. We had been home. We lost more weight. We weren't injured. We had support, and they didn't get any of that on the ranch. So what people envision there is not real. And the reason I wasn't keeping up is because a week on TV is a filming week is I don't remember the longest, but like I want to say 3 weeks. So when you see people losing all this weight, it's because it was over like a long period of time. It was not 7 days. And I heard towards the end that they started sticking to the 7 days, but back in season 3, it was whatever production schedule could have.
okay.
So those are some of the things. So why didn't it? So the minute I went home, because the minute I couldn't lose enough weight, they were like, "Get out of here, lady." Um, the minute I couldn't, they kicked me off, and that's when I started spinning. That's when I felt again like, see, I'm a failure. Like I'd felt my whole life. See, I couldn't do it. I couldn't hack it. I couldn't keep up. And before the finale, even I gained 7 pounds before the finale. I think I'm the only person to fall apart that quickly. And within a year, I had gained 100 pounds.
Wow.
And then through pregnancy and stuff, the highest. So I started out on The Biggest Loser at like I think it was 227. I don't know. And then I got down to 161 at the finale, 168. And then a year later, I'm like 265. And
Wow.
then through pregnancy, so like 2012, so like within 6 years, I'm 330 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And so as soon as I hit the 330, I was like, I can't keep doing this. And this whole time, I'm still trying to run. I have the memories come up. Thank you, Facebook, of me portioning out all my food perfectly. And so I'm trying and it's just not working anymore. But after the 330, I'm like, I am all in. I'm never going to be like this again. And so go at it really hard. At 330 and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I start running restricting really, really hard and I get down to about 230 and then it starts going back up. And I'm like, no, I mean, I'm devastated. I feel like I'm drowning. My I'm super sad about it. And I reach out to some of the biggest losers that I saw lose it and keep it off. And I was like, what are you doing? I am desperate. I am trying so hard. And I'm going back up again. And they said bariatric surgery.
Oh,
And
so
so
how old were you about this time?
30, 31,
Okay.
30. I was 30.
Okay.
So I have gastric bypass, and that's kind of a long journey of getting to where we are today because it didn't fix my food addiction. It didn't fix that I was having metabolic issues. It actually made the metabolic issues worse. And then I didn't know at the time, but I think it was one of the levers that kicked my autoimmune into drive. And so after the surgery, now I'm struggling with anemia, hypoglycemia, chronic hypoglycemia, no energy. And so I had gotten back down to the 160s, but again started going back up.
Yeah.
And so for 10 years, basically, I've struggled with um, trying not to be 265 again. Um, and this autoimmune, the anemia, the hypoglycemia. And so immediately an elimination diet started because you can't walk around with hypoglycemia. I mean, especially as a mom. And I actually have 4 kids. So there's 2 big ones and 2 little ones.
Oh, okay.
2 different marriages. And so you'll often see my littles, especially because they're so cute. And the bigs are off playing soccer and hanging out with their friends. And but so I have the gastric bypass. I'm struggling with this. I'm struggling with the hypoglycemia, and I have 2 more kids, and then I get the bad virus. And that was my tipping point. That was like, okay, yeah, sure, I was tired before. Sure, I was having brain fog and issues and hypoglycemia, but this was another level. This was terror, intrusive thoughts. My arms and legs started going numb. I couldn't eat. Every time I ate, I got sick. And here I'm eliminating, I'm eliminating all the things. I'm down to like very basic vegetables and a little bit of dry low fat meat, chicken and stuff like that
So
and eggs.
this was around to 2020 or
This
21?
was 2022, 2021. Yep. And so I'm just not the same, and at this point I'm having a difficult time driving, and I'm a stay-at-home mom and my husband works a lot, so I have to be able to drive these 4 kids around. And I can't think. I can barely go up and down the stairs to do the laundry. I mean, this was debilitating. And the elimination that I was at wasn't working. And that's when my dad said, "Hey, my friend Vinny from No Grains, No Sugar, his co host has autoimmune and she has gotten so much better eating just meat." And he said, "You should try it." And another person that was really on board, like kind of leading me here too, was my midwife, because baby number 4 we home birthed.
Oh,
And
okay.
she was telling me, eat all the eggs, all the butter, all the red meat you can for this healthy baby's brain. And so that's when I gave it a try, and I immediately started feeling better. Some inflammation started coming off, and I started sleeping a little bit. And then I'd say maybe 2 months in, maybe 6 weeks in, I slid back. And that's when I found out about Judy Cho and the SIRS.
Okay.
And I knew the first podcast I heard it, she explained my life in one podcast.
You had
And
all the
so,
symptoms.
yeah, so that has been probably the hardest part is we had to move. And telling my family, hey, in the middle of a housing crisis, we need to move out of our dream 6-bedroom, 2-bath house. And like the mold experts would come over and they'd be like, this house isn't moldy. And I would be like, it is, because I don't feel good. And they were like, "Well, we found the spot, but it's like this big." And they were like, "This is not a moldy house." But that's how sensitive I got.
Mm.
And so we're still working on that. We'd like to sell it. We've gutted it. Well, we over gutted because we wanted to make it beautiful while we were at it. And make sure that there's no issues for anybody else that would move in there. But I have like a little bit of PTSD and I don't want to move back in there. But
Okay.
I'm feeling a lot better.
So you're trying to fix it to sell it back again. I mean, to make it nice for somebody else.
I know, that's what we do every time. We live in the construction zone and then we make it nice for someone else every time. Because we love to flip houses. But so yeah, so since moving, starting my work on the shoemaker protocol, eating my meat, I'm down about 45 pounds. I've been working on my hormones, my thyroid, my inflammation. I feel like I got my brain back. Um, I love the food. You get to be full. And that helps me so much with that addiction problem I was having, because there's so many foods, even processed meats will never make me full. And I like to be full, and I'm going to keep eating, I guess, until I'm full. So I try to stick to those foods that make you full. And I've joined a support group too. I'm in Dr. Lisa's Carb Sober group. So we talk constantly about remembering why we try to stick to the foods that are satiating and filling. And we talk about, you know, just remembering our why. And so it's been a journey, but it's been great. And in my previous attempts to lose weight, at the minute I would get down, my body would just start going back up and it was like a fight. And I could never maintain the 160s for even a week.
Wow,
And I've pretty much been in the 150s and low 160s for a year now.
that's amazing. And you're not starving this time.
Right. And I have energy and my brain is getting better. My body's actually getting better instead of getting worse. The problem with those restrictive diets is your body gets worse, your hormones get worse, your mood gets worse, your energy gets worse. You get brain fog, emotionalness. I'm going through a friend, she just lost like 200 pounds and she is struggling and I see it. She's blaming herself. And it's
She
like, no,
lost
it's your
it
body.
in the wrong way, you mean?
Well, she did what everybody does. She restricted her calories, ate low fat, and worked out hardcore every single day for the past year. And she lost all that weight. I mean, she did exactly what we're being told to do. And of course, it kills your metabolism, your hormones. Your body goes, hey, I'm starving here. What are you doing?
Yeah,
You know?
that's exactly what happened to me. So, yeah, I lost about 90 pounds on Weight Watchers, and then I became a personal trainer, worked out like crazy, ran marathons, and then my thyroid exploded when I was about 30.
Yes. Yes, same. After gastric bypass, I got down to the 160s, which was not my goal. And I said, hey, I am running half marathons. I'm eating 800 to 1200 calories, just like you told me. I'm eating the foods you told me to eat, and I am not losing any weight. In fact, I'm struggling to not gain weight. And all they did was run my TSH and tell me I was fine. And I'm like, no, there's no way. And then they said, you must not be a very good tracker.
Yeah, you're secretly eating.
Yes. And I'm like, well, if I was secretly, I wouldn't be in here asking you guys for help.
Well,
If
so
you can't
that,
fix a secret,
yeah, yeah, you would just be hiding. So how many calories do you think you eat now per day?
at least 2000.
And you don't really count it much.
I'm in a season right now where I'm not counting because I did the lion diet for 2 months and it was going so great. I was tracking, I was eating 1800 to 2200 calories. I think that's a great area. I was walking 5 miles, maybe 5 days a week and then doing a half an hour of lifting at my own pace, no sweat, twice a week. And I had gotten down, I don't know, 10 or 15 pounds. And then in the matter of 4 days, I gained 13 pounds. So to me, that's my hormones saying, I don't like what you're doing. And so I've been taking a break lately, accepting my hormones need to heal, trying to eat some fat, trying to eat some meat, trying to just relax. My body obviously is really sick of dieting. And
Mm.
I love that Kelly Hogan and a few others have posted videos of how they got down and then they needed to take like literally like a 2-year break. And then they were able to get closer to their goal. And I'm not unhappy. I mean, I just went to Hack Your Health. I felt absolutely gorgeous and I feel like I'm glowing and I feel good. My body fat went from 29% last year to 27 this year. So we're going in the right direction, even with my hormones still needing some healing. And so I'm just going to keep on keeping on. I mean, what's the other choice? You go back to eating the foods that have been giving me hypoglycemia and hormone issues and feeling like crud and inflammation.
Mhm. So just like give the people like a typical day of eating what you eat in the morning to night.
So I wake up and I take my thyroid medicine now, and you can't eat with that. And then there's a second medicine that I need to take that you can't take with anything else. So I don't really eat my first meal until after my workout in the morning. I call it a workout, but it really is like a walk, or there's no sweating involved. It's like an hour, hour and a half of either lifting or walking. And after that, I get home. I take binders, and you have to take them 30 minutes before you eat. So then I'll take my binder, and then I'll have some burger patties. So this is like noon. And then like a few hours later, maybe I'll have some picanha because I'm obsessed with picanha right now. And because of the gastric bypass, sometimes I eat 4 times a day. And sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 2. My medicine, I'm supposed to eat 4 times a day. So let's say another hour or 2 later, I'll have a can of sardines with my medicine. And then for dinner, it's pretty common to have burger patties, picanha. Um, what else do I eat? Sometimes we have steak, and I guess picanha is kind of a steak. Ooh, I love chuck roast. Throw that in the crock pot. Um, so I'll have some chuck roast. Honestly, I know this is backwards of what they say, but my dinner is still pretty heavy because I don't like to go to bed hungry.
Yeah, I always try to, like, people say skip dinner, but then I'm like hungry at 10 o'clock at night and I'm like, what? This doesn't feel good.
I'm not there
I'm
yet.
not a big, I'm not a fat. I can't fast because if I fast, then I just binge eat. So it's like
Yeah.
it doesn't help at all. Like, um, that's interesting. So what, why do you feel like this time is different than, other times?
Because we get to be full, first of all. We're not starving. I have been in this support group for a year now, and we're pretty solid. Before, I was doing this alone, and now I go to meetups and I correspond with a lot of people online, so I feel like I don't feel alone at all. There's a level of accountability because I'm sharing my journey too, which so many of us are, in hopes of inspiring others. So I'm sharing my journey, and that helps bring some accountability to myself. But most of all, these are the foods that make me feel my best. So even if I were to go back to eating, I don't know, different foods, adding some vegetables, I would end up right back here because those don't make me feel good. And I am tired of being sick. I am tired of food reactions. I am tired of hypoglycemia. 10 years of hypoglycemia is plenty. So that's what makes it different this time.
Yeah, when my husband met me, he thought I was crazy because I had such bad hypoglycemia that
Yeah.
I would almost pass out, and I would have to carry granola bars and stuff, and I would have a complete meltdown if I didn't know like when we were going to eat or how, like if we went to a restaurant and they was had like an hour wait or something, I'd be like like I'd start like, and he was like, I think he almost like broke up with me because, but now he understands that I was just like starving.
My when I met my husband, the very first date, I was like, well, first of all, my hair was red. I was dyeing it red, like auburn. And I was like, just so you know, I'm actually a blonde. I had gastric bypass. I was on The Biggest Loser, and I'm divorced with 2 kids. That was the first date. And he didn't run away. But I'll never forget, he took me fishing in Canada one time on a trip, and he was totally planning this trip. He went it was elaborate. And we get there, and I realize we have no food
Oh.
for the whole day, and we're in the middle of we're in Canada on a lake. We have no food, and I'm like, Tyler, you realize I might die. And it turned out it was the best I felt. That was my first time fasting. And I felt great. And it didn't hit until later of why it felt great because it was the food that was causing me the hypoglycemia, even though I was eating the best things they told me to eat. And I actually broke their stuff a little bit because they were trying to tell me to eat sugar every time I got hypoglycemia. And I learned real quick that that wasn't going to work because it would just make me come up and then dive back down. So that was kind of interesting. That fasting does make me feel better if I can do it.
Yeah, I mean, what's the coolest thing is when you realize your body can run on fat and meat and like you're not having that reaction anymore. You like if you somebody's like, "Oh, we need to wait another hour," and you're like, "Okay, I'm fine." That's like to me I was like, "Whoa, I'm not gonna like have a complete meltdown in this, lobby of
Agreed.
the
The hanger
restaurant."
is gone 99% of the time.
And
Praise the Lord. That's another good one, is that there's
yeah.
no more hanger.
So, now you did the gastric bypass. My dad also had gastric bypass 2005, I think, and now he's also lost 100 pounds a million times back and forth and everything. So, um, But some people think you can't do carnivore when you have gastric bypass, or like you can't handle the fats or your gallbladder, or does that affect you? Any of the side effects of gastric bypass?
It was really hard at first. It was really hard because prior to this, I struggled with eggs, and scrambled eggs and hamburger would like scrape my gut and cause like a clog. And so I didn't realize how much plant I was eating because it breaks down in your mouth so easy and then it's easy for you to swallow and digest. I didn't realize how many carbs I was eating. I thought I was keto. But now looking back, I'm like, whoa, I was eating a lot of plant because it was easy to digest. So the first few weeks, my stomach hurt a lot as I was trying to chew, 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 chew. And after that, my stomach acid has just really altered itself. I can eat a 10-ounce ribeye. I eat rendered fats, and that doesn't seem to be my issue. I have issues with histamines, which I'm still working on. But the fat itself it actually helped move everything through the digestive system. Because at first I needed some lubricant because my stomach wasn't producing it from years of dieting, you know? So it's gotten a lot better. It's definitely possible. So if anybody's out there, what I would do if I could go back in time, I would drink more keto chow type stuff probably to help me get through, make sure we're getting enough protein so we're not losing any hair, having skin issues. Um, and then I would have pemmican because it melts, it goes right through you, and it's a great balance. And I'd probably have more dehydrated meat in the beginning just to make sure you're getting enough food as you build up that stomach acid. But eventually it gets better.
Did you need like digestive enzymes or anything like that?
I take digestive enzymes from time to time, but it's because of my SIRS. I don't think it's because of the surgery. But
Okay.
but I don't know if that would hurt. Well, maybe. Sometimes digestive enzymes don't feel so good, but
If I eat like lettuce or something, I have to take digestive enzymes like right away because
yeah,
it's like coming back up, you know. So do you ever have like a cheat day?
to me, cheating is adding sweetener to my coffee and having cheese. And that is my cheat. Like, well, I haven't been a bread person in years because it was giving me hypoglycemia. So the flour's been gone a long time and I cannot bring it back. That will immediately make me sick, and I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. So none of that's coming back. Another cheat would maybe be some pistachios because nuts aren't great for you when you have autoimmune issues. I think they're really inflammatory in general, and mostly they're covered in peanut oil. So even the thought of what I did is a little bit like, what so that doesn't happen very often. My cheats are adding some monk fruit to my coffee and eating cheese,
Yeah.
which isn't like the end of the world at all,
Yeah.
other than it triggers it's not satiating. It's not great for your hunger cues. So that's why it's a cheat.
How do you avoid like if you have autoimmune and then maybe if you're having mold and histamine and like it can become like your identity to be like this sick person. How do you avoid that mindset?
Because I feel so much better. I hope that I don't. I didn't talk about SIRS until I started my YouTube channel, and it was only because I want to help other people. But other than that, it's like a swear word in our house that I'm not allowed to talk about because it was so traumatizing for my whole family. And I feel I just have to remember sometimes how far I've come. And I do keep in mind because I saw people post this. Once the SIRS started getting better, then it was the perimenopause. After the perimenopause gets better, then what is it going to be? Or am I going to go, okay, I'm better now? And that is a thought that's planted in my mind of remembering how much better I am and to just hold on to that and be grateful. And also, some of these things are just going to resolve themselves. Some are going to come and go. It's never going to be perfect.
Yeah, to move health is a moving target.
Yeah, it's never going to be perfect. And that's okay. It's progress.
But I feel like some of the other communities like I was in before this, like I was in if those autoimmune groups and stuff, I feel like it can get really heavy and it's like you got to get out of those because I feel like the carnivore groups are more positive because they're like we're all better now, you know.
Yeah, a lot of people feel better. I know I'm bringing this up again because I just talked to Todd. I think he's the coolest guy, Todd from Carnivore Cure, and he has miraculously gotten so, so, so much better. It's amazing. It's the meat. The meat can help you just by fixing that insulin problem that you're I don't think it fixes it. It helps not agitate your insulin. That's off. And a lot of us are off. I don't know if it's the seed oils or the toxins in our environment or what, but a lot of us are having insulin issues, I think.
Yeah,
But
and I think we're just so depleted, nutrient depleted, and the meat gives so many nutrients, and so it's like this infusion or something. And and you're able then, like you said, I think if you do that, the meat first, then you can maybe have them clarity to work on your SIRS or whatever. Like, um,
mhm.
when I started to balance my blood sugar, then I was able to like investigate more about Hashimoto's and learn, things that I could do to better myself, but not just take the medicine and shut up, Like I was like, there's more to this. I don't
Mhm.
feel right. Same thing. I had a million food sensitivities and all that. Um, well, Adrienne, I'm just so amazed at your progress. And yes, you look amazing and you're glowing. And, tell people where they can find you and follow you. And if they want to know more about, following, like getting themselves healthier.
I'm at Adrienne K. Gledhill on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok.
Awesome. And so they can find out more, like if they're struggling with SIRS and they can find about your journey and everything.
100%. And then there's thesursgroup.com and survivingmold.com.
Awesome. I know that'll help a lot of people. And I'm just so glad you came on my channel today. And, you guys we have a lot in common, and I'm sure a lot of people out there have a lot. So that they can share with a friend if they found this video helpful. Leave a thumbs up. Tell us if you're struggling with mold or Hashimoto's or autoimmune down in the comments. We really like to hear from you. Please let us know what you think of this video. Thank you so much, Adrienne. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.